What's up, guys? I'm back with another one. It's been a minute. I haven't done a video on any boxing for a while. However, man, we had a good fight this last weekend, last couple weeks, um, with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Man, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch it because I hadn't really been up to date on my boxing for the past couple months. Um, it's it happens like this, Boxing is we have moments of lots of good fights, and then we'll hit a still moment. Um, I missed this fight because I thought there was more time left. I didn't realize that the fight was so soon, and kind of really missed it. I wish I would have seen it in the moment. Um, Man, so I just want to talk a little bit about this. I was paying attention to like the press conferences and still keeping up on boxing media about, a lot of the things that were going on before the fight. Um, when the fight was announced, I thought, oh man, I'll be honest. I'm making this video to eat my crow. I picked Haney to win this fight, and when the fight was announced, I just remember thinking like, wow, this is probably you know, I applaud Ryan regardless of how I may have felt before the fight. Him and Haney, because I feel like out of this younger generation of fighters, um, they're the ones, in my opinion, at least taking more of the chances. So, regardless of how I felt with Garcia taking this fight, I respect him as a competitor. But I did pick Haney to win this fight. Um, my initial thought, I guess, when I heard the fight announced, I thought it was like, well, um, it's a little too soon for Ryan. He had a devastating loss to Tank. He had a comeback fight. He didn't look too good in that fight. He won. I feel he pulled off the win. He didn't look too good in my opinion, and to whereas Haney kind of had a momentum on his side. And his last fight, he looked great. And I always say that you're only as good as your last fight. So with those things in mind, I just felt like Haney was the more skilled fighter of the two. I didn't really feel like there was anything Garcia could bring that Devin couldn't handle. I know that Devin is not the most, or, not known as a power puncher. I know that. But he has good boxing fundamentals, good movement, good ring generalship, a good jab, decent defense. Based on all those things, of course, I picked Devin. Anytime a fight's announced, as boxing fans, we assess things, and then, or at least me, I can speak for myself. I assess the fight, and then I come to my conclusion and decide who I'm gonna pick, and then see how it goes. I think that's the fun of being a boxing fan. Is not just I don't just pick a fighter just because. I base it on many different aspects. So with that being said, of course I picked Haney to win this fight. However, I wasn't mad at the fight. I thought it was a little too soon for Ryan. At the same time, I was like, I don't understand why Devin would even take this fight. That's Tank's leftovers. That kind of didn't. There was some things I guess that didn't make sense about the fight being made on both ends, and in Ryan's corner and in Devin's. But overall, I'm not mad at the fight, or wasn't mad at the fight, I should say. Um, so me and my friend, I always talk to him about upcoming fights. Everybody knows me as the boxing fan in the family, and I dropped the ball on this one big time. I didn't realize the fight was so close, but we talk about it a lot. And I had talked to him that, I heard Garcia and Haney are gonna fight. He asked me who you picking, and I gotta go with Devin. I like Ryan. Nothing personal against him or anything like that. I think he's a decent fighter. Um, yeah, I was just picking Devin based on my observations. So, um, like I said, I totally missed the fight. I don't remember what I was doing that Saturday. I think I went out. I'm in Vegas, so you know that's even more of a shock that I don't always keep up with these things, and I should have, because I kind of bummed to miss this fight. But with that being said, I wake up Sunday morning. I'm just checking out like my emails and stuff. I I took a glance at Google real quick. I don't really read Google. I just saw Ryan Garcia drops Devin Haney 3 times on his way to a majority decision win, and I kind of like froze, and I was like for about 20 seconds, like, what the heck am I reading? And I'm like, wow. So I'm in shock. I'm in shock about this revelation. I'm like, what is this? Automatically, am I reading some clickbait page? What the heck? So instantly, right after reading that, I go instantly to my boxing YouTube channels that I follow. And it's all over like the Boxing Voice, Fight Hype, Southpaw TV, all these uh, boxing media channels, and I'm just shocked. Like, what? I can't believe this. Like, then I'm trying to think. Okay, so Garcia knocks him down 3 times. How does he pull off a majority decision? I'm thinking, okay, he had to be losing bad to have 3 knockdowns and just barely pull out a majority decision win. I'm thinking that must have mean that other than the knockdowns, Devin must have been boxing his ass off. So I go and watch numerous clips, and I'm just in shock of what I'm seeing, man. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. I'm basically making this video to eat my crow. Um, I saw the knockdowns. I was in shock. First off, I mean, I gotta give Garcia his props. Um, I didn't, particularly see anything drastic, like some type of drastic change from Garcia. I do see changes. I do notice some subtle improvements, but it's nothing drastic. And when I was assessing this fight, I just felt like there's nothing that Ryan can bring that Devin can't handle. That was my overall thoughts. I'm watching the fight, and I'm seeing Devin get tagged like never before. I mean, I've seen him rocked a couple times, and I didn't really, of course, that was always a criticism of his. but I felt like he's the most skilled fighter of the two, and I'm watching the fight, and I'm shocked because I feel like Devin is not. I'm seeing that he's not making adjustments, and that's a big part of boxing. It's very hard to do. It's not something that's easily done. Um, I want to use like Floyd, for example. I followed his career since the very beginning. Um, Beyond his undefeated record and his um, impeccable defense, I mean, Floyd had a lot of other qualities that made him the fighter that he was. And one of those things that always stood out to me about Floyd, um, he was always in the smaller end of his weight class, meaning most his opponents were just naturally bigger than him. Floyd fought closer to his walking around weight. Um, but one thing that stood out to me about Floyd throughout his career was his ability to make adjustments. I mean, he could box you. He had good ring general shit. He could fight on the inside. He could fight you toe to toe. He could do it all. I'm not expecting everybody to be at Floyd's level. Um, but I felt like Haney had at least some of those qualities. Um, but maybe I don't know. Did I overrate Haney? Was it just a bad night? Was it one of these things where Ryan just has his number? I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, Haney said a lot of things in the lead up to this fight. Bill Haney, I was watching uh, one of the press conferences. Bill Haney gave Ryan a book, Psychology for Dummies. So, Ryan, man, I was kind of concerned for him. I almost didn't think that the fight was going to happen because of the antics that were going on. And I didn't really so much base my opinion on the fight or how I thought it was gonna go based on Ryan's antics. I'm not gonna say it didn't help anything, but that's not ultimately what I based it on. Um, However, I mean, if Ryan was trolling, yeah, he had us all fooled. I mean, I don't know how much of that was trolling, how much of it was real. His girlfriend did mention Ryan's not okay. Please pray for him. I was listening to an interview with Fight Hype and Ryan's dad, and Ryan's dad talked a lot about his thoughts about the fight, the ref, and his feelings toward Bill Haney and just people in general criticizing Ryan. One of the things he mentioned in the interview with Fight Hype was that this wasn't the best training camp. That the training camp before this one was probably one of his best ones, which kind of left me surprised because I felt like, wow, he didn't do that great in that fight. But maybe that means that his opponent was just better than we were giving him credit for. I don't know. He did say that there's a lot of things that went on that he wouldn't talk about, unless maybe if he wrote a book later in time, like some years down the line or something like that. So it leads me to believe that there was things going on behind the scenes that had Ryan Garcia's family and his camp and everybody concerned. However, I think this needs to be a lesson to all fighters. No matter what, always take your opponent seriously. Like, you should always, no matter what's going on the outside of everything, respect your opponent because they're there to you gotta take it like, hey man, they're trying to rob me. They're trying to take food off my plate, and you gotta give them that respect. Um, Man, Haney did say things like he felt he was the better fighter all around. There's nothing that Ryan could bring to the table that he's worried about. It's whatever. I'm a plus fighter. He's a C level fighter, and honestly, I mean that's how I rate fighters a lot of the time. I wouldn't say I rated Garcia like a C level fighter, but I just felt like Haney was the more skilled of the two, and skills pay the bills. Bill Haney said if he dies, he dies. Haney had all the confidence in the world going into this fight, and now he's saying like, oh, weight might have played a factor, and maybe it did to a point. I don't know, but I'll use Floyd again. As I mentioned earlier, Floyd oftentimes and most times was fighting opponents bigger than him. He fought closer to his walking around weight. Um, I'm sure that Haney and Garcia hydrated to around the same weight. They walk around at close to the same weight, so I don't know. I think we all have to acknowledge Garcia, give him his props. I mean, I'm here to eat my crow. He did his thing, and it's all respect, man. So what does Garcia do next? I mean, you gotta love Garcia in this day and age where it's hard to make great fights happen. And Haney, I gotta give Haney that respect too. Um, I think you could argue that Haney was oftentimes the bigger guy facing most of those opponents that he did in the 135 weight class and all that. And it's a valid point, but I still give my props to Haney and Garcia for making good fights. What does Haney do from this point on? I'll say, you gotta just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward, man. And only thing you could do is take this as a learning lesson to make you better. Um, you can't let one loss define you, but people are gonna say, will Devin ever be the same? I don't know, only time will tell. And yeah, I guess that's all I got for now, guys. I just wanted to give a little bit of my insight. I would love for you guys to comment and share your thoughts. I'll be making more videos about the fight and post-fight things that are going on with Ryan or Haney. I'm gonna be more consistent with these videos. So, thank you guys, and please like, share, and subscribe, and share your thoughts. Where do you think Haney goes from here? Where does Garcia go from here? And I'm off to the next one.